Shalom Israel, giving honor and praise to the Most High God for the reading and the understanding of His word. And family, first and foremost, let's make sure that I greet you, the royal family, properly by saying this. I want to wish every king, every queen, every prince, and every princess, I want to wish you a wonderful, magnificent Sabbath. And once again, thank you for bringing this in with your brother this week. Family, tonight, we are not about any games. None whatsoever. We are going to jump right into business tonight because first and foremost, we got a lot of ground to cover, a lot. And tonight is going to be one of those lessons where it's going to be technical, but not difficult. You see, last week, we discussed the supernatural. And that was nothing more than a prelude into what we are going to talk about tonight. Now, if you loved last week, then this week should make you do backflips. And I'm telling you right now, the greatest thing, the absolute greatest thing has happened, and people don't even know about it. I'm going to show you what it was. Blew my mind. The majority of our people have no idea whatsoever. But I'm going to show you, though. I'm going to show you. So, of course, family, please open your Bibles to the 1611 King James Version Bible with the Apocrypha. And we are going to go to the book of Ecclesiastes, Old Testament, the book of Ecclesiastes in chapter 1. The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 1. And we're going to start at verse 1. I'm going to read this all the way down. The reason why I am doing this is for the purpose that I need to have you gain the understanding about what happens on this planet. Now, Ecclesiastes, first and foremost, this is in regards to King Solomon. Okay? Now, we all know, or maybe many of us, let me rephrase that. Many of us know, and some of us don't, that Solomon was the wisest man to ever walk this planet. The absolute wisest. And he told us something very, very significant. Something that just goes right over many of our heads. I'm going to read this. Here we go. Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 1. The words of the preacher, the son of David, king in Jerusalem. Talking about Solomon. Vanity of vanities, saith the preacher. Vanities of vanities, all is vanity. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? Now let me stop for a second. Solomon is making a point. He's asking a question. He's driving it home. I'm going to read this one more time. What profit hath a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun? One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. Now, Solomon made a point here. Very, very substantial. Solomon said that our generations will pass away. And I need you to understand that he's talking about generational things here. Our generation. So in other words, there's going to be one generation that's here. And then after that generation, another one is going to come after it. Generation upon generation. But the earth still remains. And you're going to see what he means here in a second. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down and hasteth to his place where he arose. So now he's letting you know, hold on a second. So generations upon generations, one will come, one will go. But the earth is going to remain here. Nothing's going to change about that. Nothing's going to change about this earth. Now he's speaking in regards to the sun. What takes place every day, hasn't failed once. The sun rises in the east. It's above you, 12 noon. And it sets in the west, goes under the earth, and does it again the next day. Cycle, 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 cycle. I'm going to read it one more time. The sun also ariseth, and the sun goeth down, and hasteth to the place where he arose. I'm telling you, this cycle, I need you to pay attention to this cycle, is going to make a point. The wind goeth toward the south, and turneth about unto the north. It whirleth about continually, and the wind returneth again according to his circuit. So it's telling you that the sun does the same thing over and over and over every day. Also with the wind does the same thing over and over and over. This circular motion. Okay? Verse 7. All the rivers run into the sea, yet the sea is not full. Unto the place from whence the rivers come, thither they return again. So he's letting you know, again, circular motion. The rivers and everything, they run, they drain, come right back. Run, they drain, come right back. Again, this circular motion. Verse 8. All things are full of labor. Man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, nor the ear filled with hearing. So what is he saying? Now, first and foremost, remember, he told us about these generations earlier, right? But he's letting us know that there are things that happen on this planet over and over and over again, so much that our eyes have seen it all and our ears have heard it all the way from the beginning. Past generation after generation. Every last one of these generations have seen the same things over and over and over in this constant life cycle. Verse 9, here we go. The thing that hath been, it is what? It is that which shall be. And that which is done is which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. I'm going to read that again because I messed that up. Admittingly, I messed that up. I need to do it again. The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. So what did he say? Again, all the things that have happened in the past are going to happen again. It has happened before, and it has happened again. There is absolutely nothing new under the sun. This microphone, we think that this is a modern invention. It's not. They had microphones all the way back then. They had technology all the way back then. That's a whole nother lesson, though, but they have. They have. Didn't Solomon say or not say that there is nothing new under the sun? He said it. Nothing new. Technology has advanced, but it's nothing new. The very same things. Okay? Now, why did I even bother to read that? Because as we get into this here today, you are going to see like, holy crap. I'm telling you, that's what you're going to see. You're going to be like, oh, wow, I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. But trust me when I tell you it is all real. All of it. So, of course, this is going to be one of those lessons where we are going to bring the word to prove the world. That's what we're going to do. You see, because everything has to come from the scriptures. The scriptures will define everything. Everything. And there is something that happened just last week that the world didn't even pay attention to, that Esau did bring forth. But of course, our people don't want to hear it, don't want to see it, because they're caught up in their own nonsense. They're caught up in their sin. They're caught up in their own stupidity. Let's go. I'm getting ready to show you a video right now. And I need you to pay very, very close attention to everything that is said. So without any further ado, family, let's waste no time. Here we go.
Well, 10 months from now, we should know if NASA's DART mission is a success. Early this morning in California, this happened.
3, 2, 1, and liftoff.
NASA blasted into space its first planetary defense against asteroids. This sci-fi sounding mission has a real purpose. Hit an asteroid the size of a football field to deflect it at about 15,000 miles per hour. The goal is to deflect the large asteroid's orbit far away from Earth. And in case you were unaware, NASA does have a planetary defense officer whose job is to locate asteroids in our solar system.
My gosh! They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots.
And that video released earlier this year is of what the government calls an unidentified aerial phenomena, more widely known as a UFO. Now the Defense Department has announced a new UFO task force. Defense and intelligence officials will oversee the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. That's a mouthful. It replaces the previous task force that investigated 144 reports of UFOs over the past couple of years. Only one UFO was actually identified.
What did y'all pick up on with that? Let's see if your brains, let's see if your spiritual eyes are actually open. Family, what just happened? What just happened? What was reported last week? What was reported was that there are indeed UFOs that Esau is now admitting. This man just admitted on television. Esau is now pushing forth the truth that there are indeed UFOs, but not just UFOs. Oh, no. You see, just from this report alone, UFO is now officially classified as an old term. A UFO stands for unidentified flying object. Now, let me ask you a question. This is where I'm telling you, your spiritual eye really needed to be on. How did they start that off with? They started that report off speaking about asteroids. That the U.S. has now put together this group that is going to identify asteroids. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a serious question, family. Is an asteroid identifiable? Are you able to tell what an asteroid is if someone was to mention it? The answer is yes. So, just going and digging through Esau's lies, that is not an unidentified object. Why? Because it's an asteroid. I know what an asteroid is. So this is what Esau does. This is what they're very, very crafty at doing. They'll go ahead and put something right there at the beginning. They have to mix the lies with the truth. They have no choice. That's what their father taught them to do. That is what their spirit has been designed to do. They're liars. So they take this story about an asteroid and put it at the beginning, but if you're not paying attention, you won't see the rest of what's going on. Family, I'm going to read a quote that reporter said. Defense and intelligence officials will oversee the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. Wait a second now. One more time. The Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. So now there's a task force that oversees another task force. Okay. Let's get the definition of defense, family. Let's go ahead and get the definition of defense. You see, because this all this that I'm getting ready to bring out now just went past so many of you. But you were about to see here. Defense. The action of defending from or resisting attack. What did that say? The action of defending from or resisting attack. Now we all know that ain't no damn asteroids going to be attacking anybody. We know that. So they're not talking about asteroids. First and foremost, asteroids are identifiable and asteroids do not move on their own. So there is a the action of defending from or resisting attack. There's an attack coming. There is an attack coming. There is an attack coming to this planet that they just told you about in their report. And now they created a task force that is no longer called UFO Task Force. Now, look at this here. I want you to see this. Listen to this. Here's the name of their force. Unidentified aerial phenomena. There's that unidentified again. And I have to stress this here because I need to slap you in the face to get you to wake up with this word, to understand that an asteroid is 100% identifiable. They're not talking about asteroids. They are talking about unidentified aerial phenomena. The term UFO now is done away with. It's no longer unidentified flying objects. They know what they are. They are now identified. And the United States has just created a task force. They just created a branch of the military that is now going to be taking a look at these things. But make no mistake about it, they've always had it. I'm going to prove it here to you tonight. I'm going to prove it. Now, in that term, unidentified aerial phenomena. Let's get the definition of phenomena. Y'all got to see what this is. A phenomena. There are these terms that Esau love to throw around that people won't look into, but I'm going to make sure that we look into them. Phenomena. Listen to this. A fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question. What was that second word in that sentence? A fact. A fact. A fact. A fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen, especially one whose cause or explanation is in question. So wait a second. I thought this was folklore. I thought this was all tabloid crap. I thought UFOs doesn't exist. I thought this was nothing more than a scientific imagination. I thought this was all Star Trek. I thought this was all Star Wars. Wait a second. Hold on a minute now. So you mean to tell me that the United States just admitted plain as day that now, yes, these things indeed do exist. And not only do they exist, but now we have a task force going to look for these damn things. So now, are they actually going to look for them? Or do they already know that they exist? They created a task force for this. But, again, I want to read this. As a matter of fact, I want you to go back. Go back to the video. You have to see this here. I'm going to show you this is in the scriptures. Because this went over so many of your head. You didn't even catch it. Go back.
Now the Defense Department has announced a new UFO task force. Defense and intelligence officials will oversee the Airborne Object Identification and Management Synchronization Group. That's a mouthful. It replaces the previous task force that investigated 144 reports of UFOs over the past couple of years. Only one UFO was actually identified.
Did you pick up on that? Did you get it? 144? 144. Why, family? Why, oh why would they mention 144 sightings, but one has been identified? 144. Now that sounds very familiar now, doesn't it? 144. If you've been walking with me in this truth, you know what that 144 is. 144 sightings? So, of course, we have to prove the world with the word. I want you to go now to Revelation chapter 14, please. Revelation chapter 14. And this, you know what's about to get on and popping right now, baby. Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion. That's talking about Christ now. And with him 144,000 having his name written in their foreheads. So 144,000. 144,000 what? Not man, because the 144,000, that's the army of men that is going to go fight with the angels in Christ. So 144,000 of these so-called UFO sightings. This is something that they have confirmed. This is a fact. This is what they went ahead and prepared for. 144,000. So let's do the math here real quick. So when you do the math of 144,000, so that means that there are 144 angelic beings to every 1,000 men that's in that army. I'm not sure about you, but that sounds like a military strategy, does it or does it not? For all of you individuals that were in this U.S. military or in any military, that sounds like commanders, doesn't it? And they just confirmed it on television. You see, this is why I tell you that your spiritual eyes and ears must be open. Family, if you don't have any idea about what's happening right now, oh, it's on. It's on. It's here. And they just broadcasted for the entire nation to hear. But the crazy thing about this is that we haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes of this lesson yet. Oh, no. I just wanted to make sure that I brought this out to your 100% full understanding so that you didn't miss out on a damn thing that was said. In that one report. Oh, but we have a lot to read here tonight. Now we're going to continue reading Revelation. You're going to see what's going on with this here. Watch this. Verse 2. And I heard a voice from heaven as the voice of many waters. So that's a loud voice. And as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man could learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. Which were redeemed from the earth. This is that special group. This is that special group of men that every last one of us brothers should be striving for. Verse 4. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men. These were redeemed from among men. Stop. So this is for all of you that have that false knowledge that only 144,000 people are going to be in heaven. That is not what the Bible says. The 144,000 are the men. This is only talk about men. Okay? 12,000 men from each tribe. That's what it's talking about. Being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb. Verse 5. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven. Stop. And I saw another angel, because remember, you're talking about the one that we're talking about here. Another angel. So here are these 144 sightings. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven. Now, we're not talking about in outer space. We're talking about in the heavens, in the firmament. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people. Because what's happening now? The angels are talking to our people, talking to the scattered. That's happening right now. That's how these brothers are now coming up and bringing this word out to our people. The gospel is here. It's reaching the four corners of the earth. You are there now. Verse 7, saying with a loud voice, fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come. For the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth and the sea and the fountains of waters. Verse 8, and there followed another angel. Another one of those 144. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen. Babylon, 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 Babylon. Right here. In the good old US of A, as they say. And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. He said it twice. That Babylon is fallen, is fallen. That great city, because she made all nations drink the wine of the wrath of her fornication. America is the center of everything. America got the Arabs doing things that they never done before. America has Muslims converting to Christianity. Man. Verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand. So let me stop for a second. And we went over this a couple of weeks ago. In the forehead. In your mind. Your mind. What's in your mind? Either sin or keeping the commandments. The mark has nothing to do with no vaccine, no barcodes, no microchip. The mark is, are you following the commandments or are you not? Are you following Esau's philosophy? Are you following the philosophy of the beast? Or are you keeping the commandments of the Most High? There is no gray area. It's either one or the other. What's in your mind? That's what it's saying. And I really hope that y'all better be really paying attention to what's going on around you. It's either one of the two. Let's continue. Verse 10. The same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. Family, did y'all understand what that just said? Either you're going to keep the commandments or you are going to burn in the presence of the holy angels, in the presence of that 144, in the presence right there. That army, that strategic army of angels that the Father went ahead and sent, that's allowing the world to see. It has for quite some time. We're going to get there. I promise. All right, but we got to take this here with baby steps because I need to spoon feed you everything, but I'm not going to force feed you. I'm going to feed you slow. I'm going to feed you slow so that you're able to savor the taste of what I'm saying. Verse 11. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up forever and ever, and they have no rest day or night, who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. The beast, you know what that is? His name was Caesar Borgia. That is the depiction of white Jesus. That is who it's talking about. He is the epitome of Esau. Worrying about his philosophy. Doing the things that they say. Oh, you can go right on ahead and break every commandment in the Bible, but just as long as you say, white Jesus, forgive me, you're fine. You don't got to put no work in. You don't got to keep any commandments. No, you don't have to teach your children anything. You can go out there and go do whatever you want. You can send your sons to be whores. You can send your daughters to be whores. It don't matter. All you have to do and all they have to do is say, please save me, white Jesus, and you're good to go. That's their philosophy. Their philosophy says that, you're able to, I want to use a word that's PG. You're able to molest little children. You're able to be an adulterer. You're able to be an adulteress. You're able to lie. All you got to do is just say, hey, you know what, Jesus, save me. Save me, Jesus. Okay. You're saved. Yeah. Yay. Okay. I'll be good for 5 minutes and I'll go back to doing what I'm usually doing. Yeah. That makes all the sense in the world. Verse 12. Here is the patience of the saints. Here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Jesus. He just told you. What do you got to do? You got to keep the commandments. That's the mark of righteousness and sin is the mark of the beast. Okay. Now, I'm going to read you an article now. Now we're going to get into it. I'm going to tell you this. Something happened on this planet that set off the chain of events that what we just watched earlier. The report about the 144. Something happened. And it happened in 1941. And I'm going to get it for you. Oh, yes, sir. This is going to be great. I'm telling y'all right now, for those of you that know me personally, and especially for those of you that grew up with me, y'all know I was built for this day. And I tried telling y'all, I'm talking to everybody now. I've been telling y'all for the past 2 damn years. I have been telling you and telling you and telling you that there is a war coming. I have been telling y'all all these things have been going. Go back and look at the lessons. It's been pursuing and coming and coming. And now they just announced it on television. I told you. I am the type of person to say, I told you so. And I told you so. Because now here we are. But now I want you to have the full understanding behind it, and I'm going to prove it. Okay, here we go. The name of this and all of this will be in the description. Before Roswell, the Cape Girado UFO of 1941. Now, if you're not familiar with Roswell, it's speaking about Roswell, New Mexico. In Roswell, New Mexico, there was this alien crash that took place there. But I'm going to tell you right now, that was the one that was set up. That was the one that was designed by the government to explain some phenomena that was going on. That very same phenomena that they created this new task force for, but you have to see the origin. You have to see the origin of when it came here. You have to see when it came right here to this country. All right, one more time. Before Roswell, the Cape Girardeau UFO of 1941. It was around Independence Day in 1947 when the world grew skeptical that Earth was the only planet to host living beings in the universe. These skeptics stem from the story of a rancher in Roswell, New Mexico, who was said to have found a crash site within his land that held the remains of an extraterrestrial flying saucer. This incident is infamously known as humans' first encounter with aliens. However, that may not be the case. So right here, just in this article alone, before we even get into it, they're going ahead and telling you, hey, you know what? What you think you know, you don't know. Remember, you have to read everything that Esau says. You got to break it down. You got to take your time. 6 years before the supposed Roswell UFO incident, Reverend William Huffman from the Red Star Baptist Church was called by the sheriff around 9:30 p.m. and taken to the scene of an accident so he could read the victims their last rites. So wait a second. Now let me ask you a question. Why would they call a reverend, a priest, to a so-called alien crash? Was it because they did not know what the hell they were looking at? People usually run to reverends and priests and things of that nature when they are terrified. Okay. Now remember, we're talking about Esau. And Esau mixed lies with the truth. And this is why we have to go in and dissect their lies in order to get to the truth. According to Michael Huntington, local travel writer and UFO researcher, Huffman found himself praying over 3 extraterrestrial beings after their flying saucer struck the ground in a rural Cape Girardeau field. Now, do you remember the lesson last week? You see, because as soon as you hear about aliens, you hear about these, little green men and stuff like that. Do you remember how last week when we talked about how Esau and these other nations, that they are able to conjure up these things in the spiritual realm? Remember last week how we went through and we got examples in our scriptures of these supernatural events, the things that have taken place? Do y'all remember the story in Matthew where Christ sent the demonic spirits into the pigs? Y'all remember that? Oh, these demonic entities. Oh, they really exist? Okay, let's see. The story of the UFO crash in Cape Girado has been long researched since the 80s when Charlotte Mann, a former Cape Girardeau resident, told the story about what her grandfather experienced 40 years prior. According to Huntington, Huffman was taken to the field where a group of firemen, police officers, and eventually the military were taking over the scene. Upon arrival, it was a very different situation. It was not a conventional aircraft as we know it. He described it as a saucer that was metallic in color, no seams, did not look like anything he had ever seen. It had been broken up in one portion, and so he could walk up and see that. Mann said in a TV documentary about the crash. The crash did not just feature the UFO, though. There were also some bodies. 3 gray alien type beings, and I need y'all to pay attention to that. Not green, but gray. I'm going to get into this. There were also some bodies. 3 gray alien type beings about 5 feet tall. Big heads and black eyes, Huntington said. I need y'all to remember that. Please remember that. I need y'all to remember about these damn gray, big-eyed alien beings, okay? There were said to be 3 aliens. 2 were dead, but 1 seemed to still be alive. That is the one Huffman performed his duties on first. So what they had to do was go and get a priest, right? Right in the vicinity where all of these police officers, possible other clergy, because I'm sure that he probably wasn't the only one that they called, firemen, and also the military. I'm going to start again. No, as a matter of fact, I'm going to keep going. When Huffman was finished, he was sworn to secrecy by the military personnel who had taken over the area. According to UFO casebook files, with the United States on the verge of entering World War II, that is very significant. Everyone on the site was sworn to secrecy as a concern for national security. A concern for national security. Now, when we read earlier in regards to that new task force, what was it? It was a defense. Was it or was it not? Not only were eyewitnesses sworn to secrecy, so it wasn't only the people that was within his vicinity. This was a major event that many people have seen. Not only were eyewitnesses sworn to secrecy, but research leads to believe that the military also removed all evidence it ever happened. So you already know what that's all about. This is not conspiratorial. The military was going and threatening people's lives, saying, if you ever say anything about this, we're going to kill you, okay? All right, now let's continue. Like all crash stories like this, the military came and took everything away, hushed everybody to secrecy, and took the materials away. I need y'all to pay very close attention to what I'm getting ready to say next. I'm going to start from the beginning. Like all crash stories like this, the military came and took everything away, hushed everybody to secrecy, and took the materials away to who knows where, Huntington said. Usually the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Dayton, Ohio is the place they took that stuff within folklore, and it's covered up. Let's see if you're paying attention here. So here's this crash that happened. There was 144 sightings that they found in total, right? And they said 1 was identified. 1. So of course, as we know how the father is, the father said, probably send 1 down there. Throw them damn demons up in there right along with it. Let them see something. Let me show them that it's real. So, of course, 1 has been identified. That was the one that they identified. That was the one. And so they call all of the U.S. military out. But there's just a certain thing that they said right there. They said all of the events that take place that happens to involve these things of folklore is taken to a place in Dayton, Ohio. Wait a minute. Like what? What could possibly be? Besides this metallic saucer that they've never ever seen before, a metal that they were unable to identify, with these creatures that we all know that the Bible speaks of are sitting right in there. Could that possibly be, let's see, dragons, giants, cockatrices, Leviathan type creatures? All these things are folklore that the military had to kill off or capture and take to Dayton, Ohio. Why Ohio? What's out there? What's out in Ohio? Just proven places where giants used to live. Their habitats. And y'all be thinking this stuff is fake that they're talking about. Now, those gray aliens, so-called aliens. Are y'all familiar with this man right here? If you're not familiar with this man, his name is Aleister Crowley, the self-professed world's most wickedest man. First and foremost with this man has a quote called, "Do what thou wilt." He has written so many books. This is the occultist that all of these musicians, all the ones to this very day, all of the musicians going back from the Beatles, all the way to all these rappers. And he has this theory that he goes by called "Do what thou wilt." Do whatever you want. Man is supposed to aspire to be the greatest thing. So he's an occultist, right? He's an occultist. But the word occultist. What this man went ahead and did, he conjured up some spirits. I'm going to read this here to you. And I'm going to show you what he conjured up. I'm going to show you. Where is it? I got to find this damn thing. I'm telling you, because people be thinking that this is a game and it is not a game. Here we go. It's right here. Now, for those of you who are familiar with the occult, done your research, not saying that you're in it, but you're familiar. There's something called Lovecraft. There's actually a show that has been dedicated to it on, I believe it's on Netflix right now. Lovecraft, in honor of Aleister Crowley, went ahead and conjured up, self-admittingly, something called Lamb, L-A-M, Lamb. It's this right here. This is what was in those damn ships. These beings. Right here. This. I'm going to leave this up on the screen so that I'm going to read this here to you. Lamb, also known as the Gray. First appearance, the magical revival. The way, Lamb is the Tibetan word for way of path, and Lama is he who goeth, the specific title of the gods of Egypt, the treader of the path. In Buddhistic phraseology, its numeral value is 71. The number of this book. Lamb is an alien entity similar to gray aliens dwelling in the dark side of the planet Mars. It is an extraterrestrial intelligence which the occultist Aleister Crowley came in contact with in 1919. Bring it back. That's what was in those ships. Just like we learned last week, that these other nations are able to conjure up these things and they respond. It's no secret, family. It's no secret whatsoever. None. Now, what else was there? Take a look at this. Do y'all see what this is? These are ancient hieroglyphs. What do you see? Just like Solomon said, there is nothing new under the sun. All the way back then, do you see? There is a helicopter. Not only is there a helicopter, but there's also these ships. These ships that have been here before. Bring it back. Solomon already told us about this. Who were drawing the ancient hieroglyphs? Who were the slaves in Egypt? It was us. We have this knowledge. But of course, what Esau does to make us look crazy, make us look stupid, to make us look like we have a mental disorder. Oh, no, that's all folklore. That's all folklore. No, don't worry about that. No, them niggas are crazy. Whoever's going to come out talking about this here is crazy and out their damn mind. They no damn aliens. Ha! And now they're admitting it. There's nothing new under the sun. Our people were very familiar with these damn things all the way back then. So much that they drew them. They drew them. And we put them on the caves and the hieroglyphs. There's nothing new under the sun. Now, with that being said, we have to go a little further. Now it's about to get a little technical here. Take a look at this. Y'all see what this is? Some of you know exactly what this is because you've done your research on it before. I've talked to many of you about this already. This is what you call CERN. Bring it back. Did you notice what their symbol was? 3 6s. 666. Why is this important, though? Why are we bringing up CERN? First of all, we can start with the damn 666, the mark, the number of his name, the number of the damn beast. So let's go ahead and read a little bit about this. About CERN. This, I am coming directly from their website. About CERN. At CERN, we probe the fundamental structure of the particles that make up everything around us. We do so by using the world's largest and most complex scientific instruments. So now, if you're not familiar with that, it's talking about weapons. If you didn't put this together, you're going to see exactly what those weapons are for. Watch this. Physicists and engineers at CERN use the world's largest and most complex scientific instruments to study the basic constituents of matter, fundamental particles. Stop. So now you have two different people, physicists and engineers. What do engineers do? They build. They build. Physicists and engineers at CERN use the world's largest and most complex scientific instruments to study the basic constituents of matter, fundamental particles. Subatomic particles are made to collide together at close to the speed of light. The process gives us clues about how particles interact and provide insights into the fundamental laws of nature. We want to advance the boundaries of human knowledge by delving into the smallest building blocks of our universe. Stop. So if you're not familiar with this machine, it is a machine called CERN, the LHC, the Large Hadron Collider. What it does, it spins, it takes particles, right? What it does, it takes energy, and they shoot it off faster than the speed of light. And they go and it whirls and it whirls and it whirls, and then they make them collide. And when they collide, it gives insight into particle structure. What they do is break it down. They can look at the particles. What breaks down matter? We're going to get into that. What breaks down matter? So this collision expands. It expands a universe that makes you able to look into the deepest, darkest places on this planet. It's a machine. It is a weapon. Let's continue. The instruments used at CERN and purpose-built particle accelerators and detectors. Accelerators boost beams of particles to high energies before the beams are made to collide with each other or with stationary targets. Stop! Did y'all pick up on that? It's an either or. They can take the particles, they can take the light and go ahead and collide them together, or they can point them at stationary targets. It's a weapon. That's what this whole thing with CERN is. They are creating weapons to break things down to its smallest particle. And I'm about to show you why. I've showed you this video in the past, but for many of you haven't seen it. But even for those that have seen it, you're going to know exactly why I showed you that so long ago, because I knew we was going to come to this. Detectors observe and record the results of these collisions. Founded in 1954, the CERN laboratory sits astride the Franco-Swiss border near Geneva, and that's Geneva, Switzerland. It was one of Europe's first joint ventures and now has 23 member states. So in other words, let's go ahead and figure all of this out here. What's going on right now? What's happening right now? They had to build this machine that sits miles underground to be able to point beams at something that their weapons are completely ineffective against. So without any further ado, I'm about to show you this next video, and now you're going to understand why they have this thing built. Here we go. Here we go. You get it? You understand now? You understand what's going on with this? Do you get it? Their weapons are ineffective against something that they already know is here. They've tried shooting these things. They've tried, and they failed every time. So what do they have to do? They cannot. For one, these things are not organic. So what they have to do, they had to break down matter. Now we're going to get the definition of matter. We have to get the definition of matter because as you saw, those bullets were not able to penetrate. First and foremost, did you see all of the chariots? It wasn't just one, there was many. So after this, go back and rewind and go look at it. There's a whole bunch of them up there. But now that you understand that, we're going to get to the technical side of it. Let's go ahead and get the definition of matter. Let's see what matter is all about. Here it is. In classical physics and general chemistry, matter is any substance that has mass and takes up space by having volume. Okay, let's continue it on. Come on, stop playing with me. Of course, now, like I said, it wants to stop working now, and I'm doing it. All right, here we go. Properties. Any characteristic that can be measured, such as an object's density, color, mass, volume, length, malleability, melting point, hardness, odor, temperature, and more are considered properties of matter. So they were not able to deal with that inorganic chariot. So they said, okay, these weapons are not going to work. So now what we have to do, we got to break things down. We got to take the particles all the way down to see how we may be able to shoot these damn beams at those things so that our asses are not handed to us. Why? Because they're shitting bricks. That's why they're afraid. They're scared. Now let me go ahead and blow your mind. Let me go ahead and tear your damn mind from limb to limb. Let me pull this up. Watch this, family. Y'all thought y'all knew something about this. What year was it that the Cape Girado event took place? It took place in 1941. What happened in 1941? Now, remember, we're talking about Aleister Crowley and the occultists, right? The occultists. I'm going to show you something right now. What else took place in 1941? What took place after the same year in the event of Cape Girardeau? Pentagon history. Y'all know the Pentagon? The building that's in Washington, D.C.? Pentagon history. 7 big things you did not know. Pay attention to every word I'm getting ready to say. The Pentagon is a universal symbol of U.S. strength and security known around the world. But do you know the history behind it? The 1,100 acres of land on which the Pentagon sits was once part of the sprawling estate of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. The federal government confiscated it during the Civil War, but the building's concept and construction didn't happen until several decades later. Here's the rest in a nutshell. So now, I'm going to show you the date. I'm showing you the date of when the Pentagon broke ground. The plan was approved, and on September 11th, 1941, construction began. About 296 acres of land were designated for the building, which was supposed to be turned into a hospital, office, or warehouse once World War II was over. Stop. Go back. Go back. Go back. I know you caught it. September 11th, 1941. So, the event of Cape Girardeau took place, scared the living shit out of Esau. So now Esau is panicking and scrambling. What must we do? What must we do? We just saw the spiritual event that is taking place. So now we must get on a spiritual level. So what did they do? They created a building. They drew a design for a building that is called the Pentagon. Do you know what the Pentagon is? It's of the pentagram. It is of the pentagram. A pentagram that summons damn demons. And for those of you who are part of the occult, for those of you, because there's many of you a part of that damn occult that's watching right now, I know that already. But also those of you that have studied it and you know something about it, you know that that 5-point star pentagram is used heavily amongst witches, necromancers, wizards, all the things that we talked about last week. And so, what is so brain breaking? How does this affect our people? What does this have to do with us? What does this have to do with Israel? Who was this land? Who did it belong to? The man's name was Robert E. Lee. Slave owner. Massacre. Sadist. They built the Pentagon on the land that houses the blood of our ancestors. You see, in order for these occultists to do the things that they need to do, they must have blood. And there was plenty of it. Plenty. Slave blood all over the place. On the estate of Robert E. Lee. They had all the blood they needed. Put a pentagram right there, right on top of it. Spiritual against spiritual. Battle against battle. War of war. Do y'all really think this is a joke? Do you seriously believe that all of this is by coincidence? Y'all think so many of you think this is a damn joke. Esau battles in the spiritual realm, just like we learned last week. Who do they deal with? These powers in high places. Those are not human beings that they deal with. They deal with these demonic damn spirits. The ones that they're connected to, but of course, again, the one that we connected to, we just ignore. Ignore. They're putting together all their science and everything to try to fight against the Most High for an ass whooping that the Most High said he's going to give them and anyone that wants to be with them. You think it's a joke. I think it's a joke. So now, I want you to please open your Bibles to Isaiah chapter 66. Isaiah chapter 66, I'm going to start at verse 1. Let's bring this home. Let's bring it home. All of this occultist nonsense. Why did they build the Pentagon? The defense. The Department of Defense. The Pentagon. To fight against you, family. To fight against what's coming for you, family. It all goes back to Israel. I tell y'all this over and over and over. I'm going to read this. Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne and the earth is my footstool. Where is the house that ye build unto me? And where is the place of my rest? For all those things hath mine hand made, and all those things have been, saith the Lord. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. He that killeth an ox is as he slew a man. He that sacrificeth a lamb as if he cut off a dog's neck. He that offereth an oblation as if he offered swine's blood. He that burneth incense as if he blessed an idol. Yea, they have chosen their own ways, and their soul delighteth in their abominations. The Father's going ahead and separating the wheat from the tare. Those who are for me and those who are against me. This is very significant, what we read earlier in Revelation 14. Is it or is it not? We read about this. Righteous, unrighteous, follow the commandments, sin. Let's continue. I will also choose their delusions. Stop. Delusions. The Father said he's going to choose the delusions. He is going to choose what actual sinners see. Now, we talked about this here in the past, that the Father said that he is going to destroy people with their own imaginations. Precept. I will also choose their delusions and will bring their fears upon them. Because when I called, none did answer. When I spake, they did not hear. But they did evil before my eyes and chose that in which I delighted not. So the Father said, even though I told y'all so many different times, I told you over and over and over, I told you, but you still did what you wanted to do. I told you, don't be doing those things. First and foremost, let me stop for a second. Let's go back to Aleister Crowley real fast. Now, there are those of you who have absolutely no idea, nor you knew who Aleister Crowley was before tonight. But like I said, he's an occultist that many of these artists, they love. And so for our people, let me go ahead and break it down for you. Do What Thou Wilt. It's something that Jay-Z would wear across his damn sweaters. He actually, I don't know if he has it tattooed, but I do know that he wears clothing with that on it, giving praise to Aleister Crowley. So not only that, but also him and his little wicked ass wife that you know as Beyonce. And y'all sit there and listen to that damn music, even with that Sasha Fierce double identity crap. This is real. Those artists know it's real. Esau knows it's real. And now you know it's real. Verse 5. Hear the word of the Lord, that ye may tremble at his words. Your brethren that hated you, that cast you out for my name's sake said, let the Lord be glorified, but he shall appear to your joy, and they shall be ashamed. So for every last one of you that have come into this truth, and you have your family members, friends, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody that's just pushing you away, everybody that wants to mock you now, everybody that's calling you crazy, the Father said, don't worry about them. I'll take care of them in the end. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice from the Lord that rendereth recompense to his enemies. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a man-child. Who hath heard such a thing? Who hath heard such a thing? Who have seen such things? Shall the earth be made to bring forth in one day? Or shall a nation be born at once? For as soon as Zion travailed, she brought forth her children. Shall I bring to the birth and not cause to bring forth? Saith the Lord. Shall I cause to bring forth and shut up the womb? Saith thy God. Rejoice ye with Jerusalem. Rejoice, rejoice. We just went over this 2 weeks ago about that rejoicing. Rejoice at the falling of our enemies. Rejoice with ye with Jerusalem, and be glad with her. All ye that love her, rejoice, rejoice, rejoice for joy with her. All ye that mourn for her, that ye may suck and be satisfied with the breast of her consolations, that ye may milk out and be delighted with the abundance of her glory. The abundance of her glory. For thus saith the Lord, behold, I will extend peace to her like a river, and the glory of the Gentiles. Stop. Because some people say, oh, you see the Gentiles can get in? No, this is talking about the Gentiles that have now come to know who they are, that they are Israelites, and they converted from being Gentiles back to their custom. And the glory of the Gentiles like a flowing stream, then shall ye suck. Ye shall be borne upon her sides and be dandled upon her knees. As one whom his mother comforteth, so will I comfort you, and ye shall be comforted in Jerusalem, because we're going back to Jerusalem before the new Jerusalem comes. And when ye see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like an herb, and the hand of the Lord shall be known toward his servants, and his indignation towards his enemies. So this is saying that the Father is going to comfort his Israelites, his obedient 1/3 Israelites. He's going to comfort us as a mother will comfort her child. But the mothers, those other ones though, that 2/3 number in the other nations, and his indignation towards his enemies, his hatred towards his enemies. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain and the slain and the slain of the Lord shall be many. All praises to the Most High God. What is it saying? What is it saying, family? What did that news report we watched earlier say? What did it say, family? It said 144. That the U.S. has now went ahead and brought forth to the public, because they had no choice, God is coming to kick our ass. So now we got to go ahead. Now we got to get a task force to try to fight against them. All the things that we told you were secrets, all the things that we told you were folklore. Oh, no, those things are real. They're real. They're real. And now, because the Father controls every last one of our spirits, now we have to admit these things. We have to admit it. Yes, they're real. These things are not UFOs. They're actually identified flying objects. We've known what they are. We've known what they were for a very long time. And now we have no other choice but to tell you, because your God, Israel, because your God told you about these chariots that were coming. It told you, and we called them spaceships all this time. We even made movies. We made shows like Star Trek and Independence Day and Star Wars, all these different things and whatnot to let you know. And we talk about it in our media. We talk about it in our movies. We talk about it on our television. But all of this, Israel, had to do with letting you know that these things are real, and your God is coming to you, and there's nothing that we can do about it. All praises to the Most High. All praises to the Most High God. Esau can't do a damn thing. And it's coming, and it's here. But do you know what the crazy thing about this is? Do you know what the crazy thing is? The crazy thing is that there's still going to be people that still don't believe it. And as the scriptures just said, they are going to die. And that's not me being harsh. That's just, I just read it. They are going to burn. So stop worrying about those people, family. Stop worrying about them. There's nothing that you can do about it. The only thing that you can do is bring this word out to them. If they listen, perfect. If they don't, forget them. There's bigger fish to fry now. There are things now that we really have to jump into, and especially more and more in these lessons here, because the end is here. And like I've been telling y'all for 2 damn years. 2 years. These chariots are manifesting themselves all over the place. All over the place. You can actually go outside, stay out there long enough, and you see it for your damn self. They're here. I told y'all long before, the time for playing is over. No more playing, no more games. All of that is over. It's over. It's done. That sky is getting ready to crack. And when it does, it's going to be too late. No more playing around. It's time for you to get up off your ass, and you got to do something. You got to put the work in. That's queen, princess. That's prince, king. You got to do the work. The part that comes in that speaks about your talent, when the Father gave you a talent, he said, what are you going to do? The talent that I gave you, how are you going to use it and bring it forth to our people to warn them? Because that talent is to be used for your ministry. We need it now more than ever. What you gonna do, family? What you gonna do? It's here. If you don't want to take my word for it, just go on YouTube and look it up for yourself. Go on Google and look it up for yourself. They have announced it. I just showed you. So any person at this point, if you want to try to deny it, you are a fool, and the worst that's going to happen to you, you deserve. You deserve it. There's nothing to talk about anymore. There's nothing to talk about. Esau just put it out there. Family, it's about to be over. Israel! I'm so glad that we was able to go ahead and bring this out. Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it so much. I love it. The end is here. The end is here. It's here. What more can we say about it? Esau is rallying up their army. The Most High is already rallied. This defeat is going to be effortless. The question now is, where do you stand? Where do you stand with it? Where do you stand? The hourglass has already been turned. The sand is draining and it's about to run out. When it does, where will you be? And with that being said, Israel, I love you. I'm out.